Undercover CEO found a cashier skipping lunch to feed her baby. The back hallways of Grand Market 12 looked nothing like the polished aisles out front. Here, the fluorescent lights buzzed faintly, casting pale shadows across cracked concrete floors. Old boxes leaned against scuffed walls, and the air smelled of plastic wrap, spilled coffee, and something forgotten. Among the quiet stood a man in a gray utility shirt, clipboard tucked under one arm. Liam Reeve. To the staff, he was Mike, the quiet new maintenance guy. But behind the disguise was the CEO of one of the nation's biggest supermarket chains. He wasn't here to chat. He was here to observe. This was store number 12 in his month-long tour. 11 branches were already behind him, each assessed with swift efficiency. But here, something made him pause. It started with a cashier named Jessica. She was always on time, her uniform neat, her focus unwavering. Blonde hair tied in a loose ponytail, tired eyes that rarely lit up. But what struck Liam most, she never ate lunch. Every day at noon, she declined food with a polite smile, clutching a worn fabric tote before slipping away. When coworkers pressed her, she would only say, "I'm not hungry." On Thursday, Liam decided to follow. Leaning casually against a storage room frame, pretending to fix a light, he watched as Jessica checked the clock, then her phone. The moment the break bell rang, she disappeared, not toward the break room, but the basement. Liam kept his distance, following silently down the cold stairwell until she stopped at a plain gray door. She hesitated, glanced over her shoulder, then slipped inside. Liam reached it just as it closed. He eased it open just enough to see. The dim glow of Jessica's phone lit the old storage room. Bare concrete, stacked boxes, a mop bucket. But in the center of the floor, atop a neatly folded blanket, sat a wicker basket. Inside, wrapped in soft cloth, was a baby. Jessica knelt beside the basket, lifted the child, and kissed her forehead. She unbuttoned her uniform and began to nurse, her body curling protectively around the infant. Liam froze. Rules said no child belonged here, but he felt no anger, only awe. The room melted away into the warmth of a mother's love, quiet and unshaken by fear. He watched as she adjusted a small fan toward the baby, then tapped her phone to check a live camera feed, her makeshift baby monitor. She was surviving the only way she knew how. When her break ended, Jessica kissed her daughter, tucked her back into the basket, and carefully covered her with a blanket. She never saw Liam retreat into the shadows, but he had seen everything. As he climbed the stairs, the familiar buzz of the store returned, scanners beeping, carts rattling, voices blending into background noise. But inside, something had shifted. The clipboard under his arm now felt like dead weight. Efficiency reviews, staffing audits. All of it seemed small compared to what he had just witnessed. "I thought I walked into a supply room," Liam whispered to himself. "But I think I just stepped into the middle of a story I can't walk away from." Jessica Reynolds lived in quiet corners. By day, she stood at register 4, smiling politely, scanning groceries with practiced ease. By night, she was a single mother surviving one fragile day at a time. 3 months ago, she gave birth to Lisa Grace in a county hospital. No flowers, no visitors, just silence. Her dream of becoming a teacher had vanished the moment her boyfriend walked away at the word pregnant. At 24, Jessica lived in a single-room apartment above a laundromat. She worked double shifts, had no family, and daycare was impossible. Her paycheck barely stretched across rent, diapers, and formula. So, she made a choice. A wicker basket, a baby monitor linked to her phone, a hidden basement room behind old shelves. That was where she carved 20 minutes of motherhood out of chaos each day. There, she nursed her daughter in silence, hummed lullabies she barely remembered, sometimes crying softly into the baby's onesie. That room was the only place she could be a mother without risking everything. Because if anyone found out, she would be fired. Every footstep in the stairwell, every lingering glance from a manager, her heart leapt with fear. And yet, she kept returning. Because Lisa needed her, and this was the only way. One night, Liam couldn't sleep. Lying in the dim hotel room, he saw only Jessica, sitting on that blanket, holding her daughter with fierce, quiet love. He had visited 12 stores in 3 months, seen inefficiency, carelessness, even cruelty, but nothing like this. At 3 a.m., he opened his laptop. By morning, a few quiet purchases had been made. That afternoon, after his shift ended, Liam returned to the basement. Moving swiftly, he pulled a new white baby cradle from beneath his jacket. Soft bedding, small enough to fit in the corner. Beside it, he placed baby towels, a bottle of purified water, and a small thermos wrapped in cloth to keep it warm. Finally, he set down a folded note written in his precise, steady hand. No one should raise a child alone. The cradle and the note. Liam placed the note where it would be easily seen, folded neatly on the edge of the cradle. Before leaving, he reached for 3 empty boxes from a nearby shelf and carefully stacked them around it, not to hide it completely, but just enough. A quiet gesture of respect, a shield for her secret, a promise that he was not there to expose, but to protect. That evening, Jessica moved through the store in a haze. Her eyes burned from lack of sleep, her arms ached from lifting crates, and her chest tightened with worry that Lisa might be coming down with a cold. When her break came, she rushed to the stairwell, clutching her tote as though it were life itself. Down the steps, past the flickering light, into the familiar dark. She opened the basement door and froze. At first, she couldn't process what she was seeing. A cradle, white, soft, foreign, and impossibly out of place. Her breath caught in her throat. Panic surged. Someone had found them. She dropped to her knees beside the basket where Lisa still slept,